Who do I call if it ain't you? Tell me who to call if it ain't you.
Ugh,
Yes, headphones.
I don't have AirPods, y'all.
It's okay, I don't either.
Yeah, I did it. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's in.
Rude.
Lane, why don't you start us off by introducing yourself and like letting us know a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Lane. I do metalwork full time. I actually don't really know what to call it. It's like sculpting, jewelry, mainly sculpting. And yeah, I started about like 8 or 9 years ago now. I went to school for nutrition and dietetics and got a degree in that and became an artist instead. And I started by blacksmithing and I was like making tools and knives and stuff, and it's evolved so much since then. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, when you were younger, were you always a creative kid?
Yeah, I've asked my parents this because I don't really think so. I mean, I think I was like I was like normal, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't think
Curious.
so that's something I feel kind of passionate about talking about because I just feel like, wait, am I yelling? I feel like I'm like on a phone call right now.
It almost feels like she's yelling, let us know in the comments.
Okay, yeah. I so no, I don't think I was really. My parents were like, I mean, not like especially, but I think it's a muscle that I've really, really worked on. And I think I just like had a lot of determination to do this thing and I do it every day. And so I think that's why I I really do feel like if you want to be more creative, you can make yourself more creative by doing it daily, like making it your practice. Like the same as working out. Like if you want to get bigger muscles or you want to, lose weight or get fit or whatever, like you do something daily to do that. And I feel creativity is one of the same things.
So
It's
it's
just
like
mental.
it's a creative muscle for you.
I think so.
Yeah, that's interesting because I mean, jumping from nutrition to doing a practice like this, it's like really physical. What was the reason for you jumping into something that's more about like building sculptures and structures as opposed to anything else?
I think honestly, I don't know. I think it just resonated the most with me. I think it's evolved so much. Like I said, I was doing knives and like blacksmithing, and that came from my love of sci-fi. I think I got a forge and I was like, yeah, I'm like gonna make knives and whatever. And I kind of had something to prove, I feel like a little bit. I was in the South and I was like, women can do this, And then the older I got, the less I felt like I had to prove, and it kind of evolved into this like really way more feminine approach to things. And I like truly have no idea. Just kind of like sometimes I'm like I wake up and I'm like, it's so weird I'm doing this right now. I'm making a crown today for money. Okay, that's cool. Like it's just so weird.
So it's a natural thing for you. It wasn't like you had to think too hard.
Yeah, no, it just evolved, and I think that
Cool.
more than anything, I've been comfortable being poor for a long time, and I think that's the biggest thing.
A lot of us.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is you have to just be kind of okay with being broke and living minimally, and like while all your friends are like buying houses and like nice cars and kids, like you still got your passion, So that's where I'm at. I love it though. I mean, well, I don't love it. I don't love being poor, but I love the fact that I'm still going. It's an endurance race,
Yeah, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah. And it's getting better and better, so that's cool.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good to hear. When was the moment, do you believe you decided to make this practice something that you were going to survive off of?
Yeah, I was working a part-time job for like 4.5 years. I was a barista.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and I was just because so I did a healthcare industry stuff for like a brief moment. It was super depressing. I was like, the healthcare industry's fucked. I can't do this. Like people have no idea how to handle their chronic illnesses, and I was just like crying on the daily dealing with that. So
Yeah.
I took a step back from that, and then I kind of was like floating for a bit, and I was always doing metal work, and then I just realized like I had a moment when I first uh started doing my work, and it just was like I wasn't even like spiritual or anything at the time, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I know how to do this. Like the moment I started doing it, I was like, I know how to do this. This is something I have to do. So it's been something when I decided to make it full time, I was like, there's nothing else that I know that I want to do that I'm going to be this passionate about. So, I mean, in 10 years, it could be different, but, I was ready to just take the leap, and I did it. And that was about 2.5 years ago.
Wow. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's like a recent journey for you.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
That's really awesome. I think something cool that you pointed out was like this new creative business journey is
Hmm.
part of your spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really important for women to understand that like it's really good to go out and try different things if you're not happy with what you're doing work-wise,
Yeah.
because we spend so much time at our jobs.
Hmm.
It should be fulfilling some part of you, even if it's not
Absolutely.
every single part of you. Um, what kind of advice do you have for people that are not necessarily happy where they're at right now, but they have an inkling of where they want to step to next?
I just like, I have so much passion about like, do not waste your time on things you're not happy with. Do not do it. You have one life. It's like, if you're uncomfortable for a while, like jump into that thing that you absolutely love. Figure out, I mean, okay, this isn't great advice. I didn't have a solid business plan. I still am not good at
I
business, but
didn't either, so
yeah.
that's why we're talking together.
Okay, yeah. Again,
That's
comfortable
why
living poor.
we connected.
Yeah, exactly. Comfortable with being poor. But I mean, seriously, I think for like rational advice, save up. What I did is I saved up to have like 3 months worth of money that if I were to be flat fucking broke, like at least I had that and I could make a move to the next. But do not waste your life on things that you're miserable on. You are going to age in 40, 50 years and be like, what the fuck was I doing? Like, this was such a waste. At this point, even, I'm like, I have these moments where I'm like, I'm taking such a risk on this. And like, I'm working for myself. If I were to ever try to get a real job, I'm like, yeah, I was working for myself making sculptures for a couple of years, like if this doesn't pan out, but at least I did it. I would regret it forever if I had not tried to do this.
Yeah.
Don't have regret is all I'm saying.
No regrets, people.
No regrets.
That's why y'all are here, because we want to let you know that this is a safe place to be like, I want to fucking try that thing I've been thinking about forever.
You have to. I know. You have to.
All right, Lane, we're going to jump into some questions that we got in the DMs.
Okay.
What are your favorite books to read?
Oh, I was kind of hoping someone would ask me this. I love sci-fi fantasy so much. I think that's why I got into blacksmithing, and I just love nonfiction. I'm just like I gotta like get things, I gotta get the news and like reality out of my head. So anything that's like takes me into a fantasy. I'm reading a book about witches right now, it's nonfiction. Yeah, that's like my favorite.
Cool. Okay, another question. Do you have any tips on self-improvement? And this person put a head explosion emoji.
Yeah, actually, I think journaling every day is really, really positive. And everyone says it, like meditation. I don't meditate all the time, but when I do, it's always been really helpful. I also think just like going on walks has been incredibly helpful for me, because it makes me, I'm like doing something with my body. If you can't tell, I'm a little jittery, but I don't know if other people relate to that, but like doing something that you know how to do lets your brain kind of get into a flow state. So like walking and thinking about what you really want for your life, and like the parts of yourself that you really like. I feel like it's a super positive thing to just take some time out of your day for major self-improvement. I mean, again, like if you don't know what you like, it's like years down the road, you might regret not having tried stuff if you're not like taking time to know yourself.
Yeah, take the time to figure it out. It's worth it. Yeah. Next question. During these crazy times, do you find yourself more or less inspired to create?
Less. 100%. I have not. Well, so okay, that's actually a little, so I'm less inspired to make things all the time.
Yeah.
But I get inspired to make new weird things. But I definitely feel inspiration's a little bit slim right now. And when it happens, I just go with it. But yeah, it's been hard. I mean, it's like that undercurrent. It's like music is playing in the background that you constantly are aware of. So it's really hard to like be really productive right now.
Right. Yeah.
And inspiration's kind of tied with productivity in some ways.
I think so, for sure, especially if you're creative.
Yeah, right?
It sucks when, you get a brief or something and they're like, all right, you got to come up with all these ideas by tomorrow.
Yeah, how do you feel?
You're just like, fuck.
Do you feel, doesn't it make you feel kind of like, oh, I don't want to do anything right now?
So, yeah, for me personally, so I have my personal practice, and then I have stuff that I do to pay the rent, and a lot of that stuff is not as creative. Right. But it's still creative work. Right. That's the kind of work, that's the part where I'm feeling the slump really hard, because I really enjoy working in teams of people, and right now totally. So getting stuff done is it's tough for me, but for my personal stuff, like my brain is exploding with new ideas, and so in order to keep me from going insane, because sometimes what happens is, like, if I don't do a brain dump, I'll be thinking about things till the end of time.
Totally. I get that.
Yeah, and I have this energy that I need to put somewhere. So a lot of times, like, it is through exercise, or it's through me literally just saying, all right, like, fuck it, I'm gonna try it, see if it works, and if it doesn't work, like, at least I tried it and I got it over with. Right. Out of my brain, I'm onto the
Yep. I feel the same way, actually. And I do, just doing stuff that feels like really, I guess, meditative in its own way. And for me, that's like moving my body, being outside, the things that you hear. But yeah, I do hear what you're saying. I feel like boredom, and a lot of people are experiencing boredom. Boredom's kind of a beautiful thing, because it makes you think in ways that you're not thinking when you're going 100 miles an hour. So yeah, I'm a proponent of boredom, even though I don't let myself be bored enough.
It's like, the way that I describe it to people is like having that empty space in your mind so that stuff can float in there. It's kind of like, I know, I'm like, get the reflection. I need to get some new glasses.
I
know. Yeah, we'll do some more set design next time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that moment that you have when you're in the shower and you come up with ideas because there's nothing else to focus on but yourself.
Exactly.
That's the kind of energy that you want to get when you're bored.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to be thinking like, oh man, like I don't have my friends, I don't have this, I don't have that. Like, you don't want to get into that spiral. You want to get into that place where like there's nothing going on in there. And then there's enough space for something to occupy it, because you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, and things usually just like will pop in, or like you'll get a trail of something and just like follow that trail.
Yes, exactly. What was the last thing that inspired you, and what did it lead to?
Oh, good question. I'm not really sure. So I have a hard time with this because I don't know exactly what inspires me. It's like one of those things where you're just like, when you have a mood and you're like, I don't know exactly how we got here, but we're here, you know? I guess I do know something. I think I've loved The Simpsons since I was young, and that's the in the beginning when they always go into the living room and it's always different every time.
Yeah.
That scene has inspired me a lot, and I made my own living room recently with that in mind. Because yeah, so like there's like a couch, there's like a frame over, and that idea that it's like slightly different every time, I think that has been a big inspiration to me. Yeah.
We have a good question. Have you ever hit rock bottom, and what did you do to pick yourself back up? Good, because
yeah,
have.
yeah, multiple times, like every week I hit rock bottom. I like had this huge commission that I was gonna get like a couple days ago. It was like going through, and I was like, this is honestly gonna save my life during this pandemic. And then they were like, actually, we don't want it anymore. I was like, are you fucking serious? That was a rock bottom. Other than that, yeah, like I definitely have really hard times. And when I have them, usually there's something that just like talks me out of it, and kind of like trying to evaluate the things that are still going for me, and kind of trying to get out of my head and into my body is really important, because sometimes those separate for me, and that's like when I'm just like not in a good groove. But yeah, I hit rock bottoms frequently. I'm kind of dramatic. Yeah. Me?
We've all been there.
Yeah.
We've been there. I think like it's good for you to hit rock bottom, because then you're not afraid of failure.
Yeah.
And in order to elevate yourself and get to the next level, you're gonna have to fall down flat on your face.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't get a lot of things. Like I've had so many crazy opportunities almost happen, and you can talk to the people I'm closest to who are like my sounding boards. Like it's definitely a mind trip when things almost happen that you're so excited about and they don't, like over and over again. But a really good friend of mine told me this thing, and I think about it every single time something happens, is that the people who make it in the end or feel successful with their life in the end are not those who were going the fastest. It's an endurance race, and like for real, just having stamina and like going through it, because there's gonna be a bunch that don't happen, and then there's the one or two that do, and that's kind of all you need. And I have to remind myself that all the time.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think and it's good to remind people that when you read about successes on social media or in the news, that didn't happen overnight.
No.
Like that most likely happened over an entire lifetime. Like I know like even for me, I've been doing animation for 10 years.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got to that point where huge companies, huge names were hitting me up to work with me, thinking that I had just popped up all of a sudden. And it's like, no.
I know. I know. I feel that.
I've been living under everything else for so long. It's just that sometimes it's a timing thing.
It's such a timing. I mean, yeah, it's such a timing thing. I go back and forth between it being luck and it being like divine timing, you know, or like the path you're supposed to be on or whatever. So I try to remember stuff like that, where it's just like, I check in very frequently if I feel like I'm on the right path still or not. And I don't think you ever 100% really know, but I think you do. There's something inside of you that like knows enough, and you just got to follow that.
I think
checking in a lot is like a very important thing for me and probably everyone.
How would you suggest is a good way for people to check in? Like a good simple way to check in?
Honestly, just like ask yourself a question, be really honest with yourself. Like, does this make me happy still? Like, is this something I want for my life? And if it doesn't make you happy, then maybe recalibrate just slightly a part of it. Like, for example, I have been producing things, and I produce over and over. Like, people can buy from my site, and it's items that I make and make and make over and over again. And I'm getting to the point where I'm kind of like, I'm not sure if like feeling kind of factory-esque is something that I'm still into. And my dream is to become like, to do some big landscape pieces and to eventually just make, you know, a couple big things, you know, big scale things. So to take the scale from this to that, but it's still the same thing, but it's just in a different way. And so that check-in that I've been kind of evolving with it's just part of the process, I think. Like, and I've been happy with it for a while, and I'm just getting to that point where I kind of want to like get to the next level and like,
I feel that. So we have 2 more questions.
Okay.
And if someone wants to send our last question, go ahead and do it now. First come, first serve. All right. Do you create more when you're in a positive mood or a negative one? Ooh.
Honestly, probably positive. I think a lot of people feel like they create more when they're negative, but I think when I'm in a negative state, I don't want to do shit, and I need to like sit in it. And then I think I take that energy, and when I'm in a positive, it kind of like influences that. I just like, I have a really hard time being easy with myself and being like productivity culture. This whole quarantine thing has been eye-opening for as hard as I go all the time.
Yeah.
And so I think when I get into a negative state, I kind of try to allow myself to just like sit in it. And I do think it influences my creation mode when I'm feeling like peppy again and energized. But they're pretty quickly moving, which I'm thankful for.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good thing to ask because I used to think about this a lot when I was younger. And I think there's just that idea of like, you know, a depressed artist that's
right,
like using their energy.
I know.
But I think I challenge people to think about that more in a psychological sense. Where
I have
like,
so much feelings around that. Yeah.
I think if you put negativity into something, like it stays in that object.
Agreed. Agreed.
And then you're gonna pass that on to another person. Like you're gonna have to deal with that. Think about that.
I totally agree.
If you put really great positive energy into the things that you make and say and do, then you're gonna spread that to the people that receive it. So I think if you think about that, think about your process more in that way as like, I want to be a positive person that's like sharing my light with people.
Yeah.
Then I think you're going to force yourself to only create things when you're in a great spot. And maybe it's like you said, maybe like these negative moments, they are a time for you to look inward, not necessarily create. It's more about like, I'm feeling this way.
Exactly.
And then what's going to come out of that.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to, when you're feeling bad, to like, to feel bad and to just sit in it and like allow that to happen. And, you know, I have a hard time when I'm feeling bad to not be like, oh, get this done. But it just doesn't, it's not super productive to try to like, and like you said, put that kind of energy into the things that you're creating with your hands. I do feel like people can feel that vibe when they're getting it. And when I'm positive, I like pay more attention and I'm like more careful with things. So
yeah, it looks better.
Yeah, it does.
Next question is, do you know when a piece or project is finally done? That's a good question.
Yeah, when I'm like, I am done. I'm sick of this. Like, get out of my sight. A lot of times I'll be like, I get out. Usually when I finish a piece, I'm like, literally someone take it. Like, I don't need this around anymore.
I don't want to look at it.
Yeah, no, I'm done. I'm done here. I did it and it's like, go. I had to train myself to be cool with doing that and like, just like, and now I'm like, so I'm just like, I don't want any kind of hoarding of anything. I'm just like, take it,
Yeah, no, I feel that way too. It's
Yeah.
hard for me to go back and look at my old work.
Yeah, me
Just like,
too.
yeah, it was
Oof.
a moment, but I don't want to go back. I want to move forward.
I know, same. I hate looking at my old stuff.
But go in.
Yeah.
All right, one more question before we
Yeah.
wrap up, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Okay, what are your influences? What or who?
Oof. It's so all over the place. That's such a hard question. I think like I'm really influenced by color and shapes from all over, and the feelings that they kind of like provoke, you know? I'm into different I don't feel incredibly influenced by my immediate surroundings. It's usually when I'm looking like towards other places. Traveling is like my biggest influence. Like I am constantly wanting to get out of town. I want to fly places all the time. I love going to new places and seeing new things, and I think those just spark some kind of like awe in me, and that's what somehow influences me. I love seeing new things all the time, which is kind of an issue, but especially now.
Good problem to have.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Like being comfortable with boredom is also, the opposite of that problem. So, yeah.
Priscilla, she's not a Sag, she's a Gemini.
Yeah. Oh, did you think I was a Sag? I like it. I'm the solar opposite. I'm a Gemini. If you're doing, for any astrology nerds, if you're doing I think it's the tropical astrology, I'm a Sag rising. So
tropical astrology.
Yeah, they're like the ones that are slightly, the stars are in slightly different places when you're born, but so that would make sense for my rising.
We're gonna have to get into that next time.
I know.
All right.
I can talk about astrology anytime.
Ladies, that's a wrap for today. It went through so quickly.
I know, so quick.
So much for joining us, Lane. We had a really good time asking you questions.
I had so much fun. And if anyone, I think I'm going to do a Q&A if like anyone wants to ask anything else. I've never done that, so you can look at my Instagram and whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Alrighty.
Thanks, Christelle.
Thank you guys so much. We had a lot of fun. We'll do this again.
Yeah, it was fun. I can talk to you all day.
We'll be back on Friday. We'll have a surprise guest, so I'll let you guys know tomorrow. And then we're gonna keep it rolling, y'all. So if anybody has a friend that you think should be nominated to jump on this with us, just holler, because we love talking to all of you.
Cool. All right.
Bye, girl.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.